So you're watching this because you heard of a friend or family member, or maybe you're going to be entering the market and you've been hearing of people that are having a hard time getting their offer accepted in this housing market. Now, I'm not here to talk about external circumstances because yes, things are crazy right now in some parts of the country. Instead, let's look internally and let's figure out some reasons why your offer may not be being accepted in this housing market. Because here at Javier Vidana YouTube channel, I don't have a name for my channel, it's just Javier Vidana. We like to take responsibility in things that we can control. And we try not to freak out over things we cannot control. And one of the things we can control is the strategies that you're using to get your offer accepted. Wow, I sound really fancy. Sorry. That's the beauty of having kids and working from home. That was my daughter, who decided to want to announce her presence in this video. So anyways, let's get to it. Let's talk about the first reason why you may not be getting your offer accepted. Have you been tracking your failed offers? Have you been truly tracking them? Javier, how do I track failed offers? It'll just be a list of no's. Well, let me ask them some questions about these offers that you've been making. Have you figured out what place you were in these offers? Like, were you in second place? Were you in third place? Were you in last place? How many offers were there? Where did you place? Were you in the bottom of the stack? Were you at the top of the stack? Second question, what beat you? And not just what number beat you. People always focus on the number that beat them. No, what specific terms beat you that was important to the seller that you weren't aware of? This is important to know because your agent might find out that, hey, oh crap, the winning offer was actually lower than us, but they gave them a 2-week post-possession. And the seller was buying another house and they needed that extra time. Gosh, I wish I would have asked that when I was talking to the agent, right? You start learning specific things about the situation. Gasp. Hopefully you're not just finding out that you need to be asking these questions. It's quite frankly something that you should be finding out every time because you need to be tracking the data of what is happening. Now, if you're placing in second or third place, good news, you're close. You just have to keep going and maybe you have to adjust some small strategies, or maybe you simply just have to keep trying because if you're coming in second place, then you were close. You were just as close, right? There was just someone that was a little more desperate, that had more cash or did something specifically special to get the deal done. And we'll still find out what they did. And the beauty about being in second or third place is you can look at what the top person did and you can justify, well, I wasn't able to do that. I did my best, and that's it. If you're coming in last place every time, I mean, that's I get some situations sometimes where people call me because they find my phone number and they call me and they go, Javier, I've been looking for 9 months and I just cannot get an offer accepted. It's just so terrible. And they're not looking like in, like crazy areas like California. Sorry, California. It's crazy out there for you. What's been crazy for a while. They're looking in solid areas that they could get something already. And when I ask them, well, have you been tracking like what places are you coming in? What kind of offers are beating you? They just don't know. And here's the crazy part is if they have been making offers and they've been lowballing every offer and they're coming in consistently in last place, they're not finding out what's beating them. Or maybe if they do find out, they're not adjusting their strategy to try to get something to work. Then they're like, hey, I don't care what's happening around me. This is what I'm doing and this is what I'm going to keep going. And when it's not working in my favor, I'm going to blame everybody else. The market doesn't care about your thoughts on what houses should be selling for. If you've been looking for multiple months and your offers continue to get rejected and you're at the bottom of the pile, adjust your strategy, look in different areas, or quite frankly, you need to realize that the specific neighborhood you're looking for is just not your price range. You need to be bumping it up. It's insane. And now not every city has to, you have to go over crazy and over a list. There's some cities here in Phoenix specifically that you don't have to do that. And I'm sure if you do some research, you'll be able to find. It's been a while since I made a video on it, so I'm sorry for the words. So track your data. Number one reason you're not getting your offer accepted, first and foremost, you're not tracking your data. Track it. Put an Excel sheet or, collect your realtor's emails. Do something. Don't just be ignorant. Not ignorant in your mentality, but ignorant and you don't have the knowledge or you lack the information needed to know how to adjust your strategy. So second reason why you're not getting your offer accepted. You were not creative with your appraisal. What does this mean? A lot of right now, people are throwing the terms around, well, people are waiving their appraisal. And We have to be careful about what the term we're throwing out there, because waiving your appraisal means that the lender was able to not do an appraisal on the property, which technically happens when you're like a high down payment situation, right? Or sometimes in rare situations where you're clearly buying a house that's worth way more than what you're buying for. That's not what's happening. What's happening is some people, some buyers are waiving their appraisal contingency. Now you hear about this, like 1 house out of 10 might sell with this. And suddenly it causes mass hysteria saying, oh crap, everybody's waiving their appraisal contingency. Not the case. I'm not saying you're not going to encounter this. You will encounter it, but you need to make sure to know it is the minority. And you need to know also that you don't have, there's not A or B. You don't have, it's either you waive it or you don't waive your appraisal contingency. It's not the case. Right now, most of my clients that are winning high competitive situations are doing it with what's called a shortfall. Now, I'm not going to go into the details of a shortfall because every state is different, but just know, ask your realtor. There should be an additional clause addendum or something that might go over this a little better. But, you know, shortfall is a great in the middle tactic, and you don't have to go and bust out $10,000 for a shortfall. You can do a shortfall of like $1,000 or $500 or some kind of number to just come in clutch. That's why when I'm coaching people about how to buy a house, I tell them there's 3 funds needed, and one of those funds are your clutch funds, extra little money to throw at the seller. Some might call it bribing. But and you know, it's the funds that come in clutch to really secure the deal. Look at what's a shortfall and consider doing that if you're not ready to just completely waive your appraisal contingency. But if you're coming in second or third place every time, like I said with the first one, then you just have to keep pushing and you'll find something that will eventually, you won't have to do anything on. A lot of times people think their offers aren't being accepted because they're not putting 20% down. When in reality, you can be 3% down, but if you have even have an extra few $1,000s to do a shortfall, I mean, that'll make a huge difference than the 20% down offer, right? You don't have to have a ton of money. You just have to be creative with the offers that you're making. The third reason why you might not be getting your offer accepted is your financing. This is terrible, and I'm sorry to report this news, but right now, government financing are having a harder time getting your offer accepted. Right now, here, and specifically in my area, like 8 to 7% rate of success with FHA homes in the Maricopa County area. It is insanity. I remember when FHA was a good piece of all houses being sold. Now FHA, VA, USDA are suddenly, they have the scarlet letter. And if you're especially when you're submitting in a multiple offer situation, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be really hard to get your offer accepted. So what can you do to resolve this? Well, you can either take a step back from the market and really just focus on getting that credit higher so you can go conventional that has a much higher percent of success. Here in Arizona, like 50%, right? So you're going to have a huge increase of chances of odds just for being conventional. Or simply look in areas that are more FHA friendly. There are specific neighborhoods or cities that your agent can actually do some sold data. They can look through it and find which areas are accepting more FHA loans. So, well, in reality, it's the areas that are getting less competition with cash buyers, and that's why they're accepting more FHA loans or more houses are not being sold, etc. So there are some strategies you can adjust if you're not willing to go to conventional, but it's just the facts. You know, you're going to have a harder time, unfortunately. Number 4 potential reason why you're not getting your offers accepted. Maybe not you. Maybe your team is not doing this. You're not asking the right questions to the listing agent. Let's just say an example. Let's say you make a really good offer and you find out your offer got rejected. What the heck, man? You were the top offer. According to what your agent was saying, you were going to win this offer. Why didn't you win it? Well, you find out that it wasn't a cash offer that came in last minute or anything like that. It was a financed offer that came in. And the reason why they got their offer accepted is because they gave the seller a 2-week post-possession to stay in their property after they close to give them enough breathing room to move out comfortably. You think, well, I could have done that. Why didn't I do that? Well, because you didn't know that was the problems the sellers were facing with. You know, when an agent calls to get more information about the property, you're not just finding out, hopefully they're not just finding out what the price range is and everything. Hopefully they're just getting to know what's the seller situation. It's simple. I mean, I can't teach human decency here, agents, or have your agent just be like, how is this process for your seller right now? How's your seller doing? What are some problems? What are some issues that they foresee or see? What are they worried about? How can we help the seller with this transition? I have such a high success rate with this basic question. And I've been in multiple offer situations where I might not be the highest offer, but just because I asked some basic questions that are human decency, just like they're like, I appreciate that. You end up finding out little details that make your offer really stand out. Little things like, hey, the inspection, really, we're really concerned about some kind of drywall thing, and we don't want to fix that. Well, guess what? Your buyer's has a drywall uncle. Okay, well, not an uncle that's drywall, uncle that knows about drywall. Well, hey, don't worry, we actually can take care of that ahead of time. Just giving him those reassurances or something. I don't know. It's just so. It can be so many things, and you're gonna rob yourself of that opportunity to maybe get your offer accepted by not having the decency to just ask some questions about the seller. If you think, well, man, Javier, I don't give a, I'm just gonna get a deal. I don't give a shite what the seller has going on. Well, I hate to break it to you. Negotiation isn't like I'm gonna screw you over and I'm gonna spank you. In my opinion, what I've learned, the most successful negotiations is when you understand both sides' problems and strengths, and you make it work for both parties. And whenever there's a situation that pops up, you try to fold it towards your favor, right? It's not about just going over and spanking the seller and saying, I'm the mommy now, right? It's you want to just, just be decent. And the last reason your offer hasn't been accepted is you're not winning the listing agent over. What does this mean? Well, let me share with you how it works. So when you sign a contract and you give it to your agent, what do you think happens with that offer? The agent is not allowed actually to talk directly to the seller. So the agent has to give it to the listing agent. Your buyer's agent gives it to the listing agent, and then the listing agent, through their filter, gives the offers to the seller. So a lot of times we're under the impression that the seller has the final say, and they technically do have the final say. But the way a listing agent presents your offer can make or break you. So if you make the best offer, you waive your appraisal, you're saying, hey, I'll give you a massage when you close, I'm going to throw you a carne asada when you close, you're going to just really go out for the seller, and your agent's a big douche when they make the offer, and they're just so rude, and the offer it just isn't eligible. They decided to write it up with a paper and pen, and they faxed it over and just did a bunch of weird things. How is that offer going to be presented? You're resting easy at night knowing, oh man, I got this. This house is mine. Well, your agent decided to present it in a terrible way. The listing agent just had a terrible conversation with the person that just feels horrible about it. Now you're presenting all the offers. The listing agent says, here's this offer. It's a really great offer, but man, they were so rude to me on the phone. I don't know. I just feel like whatever. They're going to give their opinion. It sucks. I know it sucks to hear this, but you have to be somewhat decent to the listing agent because the listing agent has control of how these offers are presented. It's rare. Oh, there's Wally. Hi, big boy. You should go, boy. It's rare when the listing agent just decides to just throw all the offers over without any context. Here's the thing, right? The listing agent has some worries too. They want to look good for their seller, and they want an escrow that's going to be smooth so that way they look good for their seller. Because there's nothing worse than the listing agent than having the buyer cancel on you last minute and completely screwing up the plans. That is absolute worst, and it sucks, and you lose sleep over it. So you can win the listing agent over by having your agent simply say, hey, we're super solid. We're super well qualified. I'm going to have the lender call so you can know how well qualified we are. And just giving comfort to the seller saying, hey, we're going to close. We have enough money. We can, if there are any problems that come up, we got you. We got your back. That's going to then help them present your offer in the best way. I have won so many offers by not being the best offer. I'm the top on the pile. I'm not saying you have to make lowball offers. I've always been at the top of the pile. But I've won so many offers just by having a conversation with the listing agent, learning their concerns, learning how they're doing, and, just reassuring them that we are super well qualified. And you can win them over if you're working with a local lender that has a great reputation, shout out to Lizzie Hofer, and you're dealing with a high producing listing agent that's had good experiences with this lender, that wins you points. There's so many things that wins you points to give comfort and security to the listing agent that will then have them present your offer the best way, that you will actually beat other people that are higher than you. Once again, I was saying it earlier, and I think I stopped with I thought. There's been many times where I've been at the top of the pile, But just because I had a decent conversation and I gave the listing agent security and comfort with a bunch of things, they went with me. They went with my buyer. And, the buyer just like, we got the offer accepted. Great. Little did they know I had to, like in freaking, sometimes I have to just be such a suck up. It sucks, but it's what you got to do. So, those are some things why your offer hasn't been accepted. If anything, it's probably taught you probably want to supervise more what your agent's doing to make sure that these things are being done right. And if you're looking for an agent referral, you can always use homeandmoney.com/Javier to find yourself a great agent. What I love about them is they have a staff of people that are just going to connect you with the best agent and then follow up with you and the agent to make sure things are being done right. So if you're looking for an agent referral anywhere in the country, check them out. And of course, I'd love to hear what other videos you want to hear from me. So please let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Have a blessed day, my children.